Good morning, Man Hour Nation. Happy Thursday, happy Thirsty Thursday, and happy Thursday. What's it called at Oaks? I think it's Thursday night at the Oaks or something. I don't know what it is, but happy Thursday here in Man Hour Nation, guys. And as every show, we start out with some shock news, some Mike's thoughts, whatever you want to refer it to. But I got extra correct activities happening in my ear right now. Where's it at? I need to block those sounds,
Good
Wyatt.
morning, Man Hour Nation.
Oh my
Happy
God.
Thursday,
I'm going confusing, Wyatt. there you go. All right, so as you guys know, I did post my top 5 overrated NFL quarterbacks going into the 2022 NFL season. And I got some major backlash on that, which I ain't mad about it. You guys all have your opinions, and they might be wrong because my opinions are right 9 times out of 10. But if you ask my wife, it's only 1 out of 10 times. So you do the math. Who is really right there? But there were a lot of people that agreed with them, but then there were some people that throwing out rules and other people out there that I'm just like, who in the world are you talking about? So this particular person on our Facebook trash talk group, I'm going to leave his name anonymous because I didn't ask to use his permission, but in the end, he said Jimmy G and Justin Herbert were both overrated quarterbacks going into the 2022 NFL season. I sat back, I analyzed, I looked at some stats. Justin Herbert, last 2 seasons alone, over 10,000 yards passing, 69 touchdowns to 25 interceptions. He has a QBR rating of 102 in those last 2 seasons. The only quarterback ever or higher than him in the last 2 seasons, the greatest quarterback of all time, and that's Tom freaking Brady, right? And then Jimmy G. Every time he is healthy, every time he plays a full 16-game season, he leads the San Francisco 49ers to an NFC championship game. Hell, I told you guys this, if the San Francisco 49ers would have beat the Kansas City Chiefs back in, 2019, 2018, when they won that Super Bowl, we would be talking about a San Francisco's dynasty now and not a Kansas City Chiefs dynasty back then. Also, if Jimmy G is overrated, why is he getting threatened to get benched every other week? We're going to start Trey Lance if you don't throw 6 touchdowns, yada, 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 right? We all get it. So how can Jimmy G be overrated if he's threatening to get benched by a rookie quarterback, a consistent talking of being traded and are you even going to play this year, yada, 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 and to put Justin Herbert's name in there? I get what you're trying to do. You are trying to use my logic against Joe Burrow on me, saying that I expect Joe Burrow to play at 100% and when he's only going to play 80%, like 80%. I get your logic, but come on. You are telling me Jimmy G and Justin Herbert are both overrated? Why? This guy must be drunker than I am on a Tuesday afternoon after drinking some mango margaritas on Taco Tuesday. I do love me some mango margaritas. But Man Hour Nation, it is time to get the ball rolling. Are you ready, Wyatt? Cue the intro.
I'm ready.
Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that then. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speaks go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the blog section. My man Mitch Hill dropped another banger of a blog about the Houston Texans. Great work over there from my man Mitch Hill. And guys, we have 5 more blog writers that are hired to cover the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, who else we got? Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers, guys. So it is going to be popping over there at manhourradio.com. So be sure to check it out. Also, check out the Nana merch that's dropping on Monday. That's right. Nana, Buck's new favorite grandson, even though I'm not related to her whatsoever, I am her new favorite. And taking the space of that number 1 favorite was Wyatt. So how are you doing today, bud? How are you feeling? What's life like in the number 2?
It's good. Yeah, no, it's going. What's the number 2?
So you are now second greatest in your Nana's list because I am number 1. Yeah, basically because Nana comes to Rivers t-ball practices and like games, and she calls me every day. He's like, "Hey, honey, do you need me to make me some French toast?" Yada yada. I'm like, Nana, you can come over anytime you want. You can hang out with the boys, bring your dogs, and my dog and your dogs will play and have grand old times. I mean, Wyatt, I cannot believe you had this crystal ball in your hand, the best Nana in the world, and you dropped it. Come on, man. All you had to do was call her and say, "Hey, I'm back on the man hour," and it didn't happen.
I know. It was tough. I definitely should have.
So, Wyatt, she did give me permission to give you all the crap in the world, and it is all just and fun. But your Nana loved you to the moon and back many times over. But guys, we do have a great show for you lined up here. We are going to break down the NFC East. We're going to break down all 4 of those teams. We are going to go pick the winner of that. And today is Thursday, so we have Factor Crap. We have 6 Factor Crap questions that were submitted online at like on the Twitter machine at @manhour_bucks. They slid into those DMs, or they tagged us and put hashtag fact or crap, and myself and Wyatt will let you guys know if it's fact or crap. So Wyatt, it is this time of day where we try to get Combsy on the phone. He is driving to work with that stupid Bluetooth, and it's all gonna like diesel it up on us. So how did you feel like talking to Combs for the first time in like a while here on the show?
It was cool. I was excited to talk to Combs. Obviously, his takes on the draft were
wrong,
not up to par.
They were wrong. Just go ahead and say it. They were wrong.
So,
Combs, how do you feel about that? Do you think you were wrong?
No, I definitely wasn't wrong. But that's the Green Bay Packers fan for you, though. That's what they do. They think that they win everything when really all they do is win a few regular season games, and then they choke in the playoffs. That's how it goes.
But they do definitely win a lot more games than the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions rolled into one. So they do have something go them for. So Combs, good morning to you. Hopefully you are driving safe on the way to work and all that stuff. I have a list of questions that I was going to ask you, but I'm going to go off the cuff right now because that is what we do great here at Man Hour. And I just read an article where the WNBA is going to be honoring Brittany Griner on the basketball court until she is released in captivity. I believe she's in Russia. So if you guys don't know, she was caught with some THC or marijuana from traveling from game to game, and they arrested her. This is the same Brittany Griner that said that we should not play the national anthem before the games because it is not right. It is derogatory, and I don't want to stand up for the national anthem and like all this other stuff. And now we're honoring her on a basketball court. Combs, I know you are a very political man. You served in the America's military. You were a part of the hoorahs. Like, how do you feel about the WNBA honoring a person that could two shits about America? Let's just be flat honest. She could give two shits about it.
Well, look, this one is, for me, is tough, right? Because, like, with the Colin Kaepernick stuff, I was always on the side of Colin Kaepernick is no longer playing in the NFL because he was a terrible quarterback.
Right.
And not because of his political stance. And I was always on the side of we fight for everybody's rights. And one of those rights is the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, which is you have a right to speak your mind, say what you need to say, and protest how you want to protest. And Brittany Griner, for whatever reason, felt like the national anthem was disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. Do I share her sentiments? No. Is it her right to do and say whatever she wants to say? Certainly. You know, I'm all about people's rights. I do find it kind of ironic that she felt that the national anthem was derogatory and she really doesn't like America, but now she wants America to save her.
Yep.
I do find that a little bit.
She wants Trump to save her.
Odd. Yeah. So I don't subscribe to that notion. Look, like you said, I mean, being a Marine, you think of things a certain way. I certainly would never kneel during the national anthem, but I also understood why some people did. You know, I get it. You know, in the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, a lot of people don't realize is that he first started out by sitting, and then it was actually a Navy SEAL who talked to him and said, "Hey, look, if you're sitting, you're disrespecting the military and everything we stood for."
Right.
What we do when we have something, when we lose one of our brothers, we kneel before the flag. We kneel before their boots and their rifle, and that's how we show our respect. So if you're going to do anything during the anthem, why don't you kneel? And so Colin Kaepernick actually respected that and started kneeling instead of sitting.
Yeah.
So,
and then in typical American form, we blew it up out of proportion, yada, yada, yada. So that's where we're at.
Correct. But you know what? The whole thing, Colin Kaepernick, you could say that he took this thing, you know, with the Black Lives Matter, when it started, you know, about the right before the elections in 2017, like normal. And what he started doing was he started sucking. I mean, he was terrible those last 3 years, and I believe in his last season he was 2-10 before he was benched. And he got benched, and so he sat. It had nothing to do with that. That was my problem with Colin Kaepernick, was that he didn't sit until he was benched. He didn't. The flag or the anthem didn't bother him until he was benched, and that's where I took exception to it. The Brittany Griner thing. Is she being wrongfully detained? I mean, I don't know what the laws are out in Russia. You know, I never like seeing any American detained, and especially if it's wrongful. But, I mean, I've never tried to sneak drugs through customs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what that means. I know, you know, marijuana, THC is legal around here, but I don't know if it's legal over there. And when you're trying to sneak stuff through the airport and through customs, that's pretty much a no-no, I would assume.
Yeah, so there are 3 things wrong with this situation. 1, the people told her not to do this. 2, we know that Russian people kill people for speaking out the truth about anything, even if it's complete truth. If the Russian dictator says, you know what, I don't like it, he is going to off you. 3, you know, I feel like the WNBA is just trying to get some type of eyes on their product. So why not exploit Brittany Griner and put her on the court? Wyatt, how do you feel about that? Do you think the WNBA is just trying to get eyes on their product because it's so bad?
Michael Buckheister, you have got to be the most politically incorrect and beat to your own drum person I have ever met in my entire life. I mean,
what is wrong with what I just said there, Wyatt? The WNBA product is complete trash. You know, they're like, oh, pay us equally, pay us equally. How can we pay you when there's 10 people in the stands? Like, come on.
True.
Oh, man.
And the people that are crying pay them equally, they don't even own WNBA gear.
Yeah, true.
That is true. I will say that.
So, Wyatt, what are your thoughts about this, putting Brittany Griner's number, and I believe they're putting her date of birth on there too. What are your thoughts about them putting her likeness on the court?
Yeah, no, I really sided with Combs on this one. I liked what he said. As Americans, whether if we agree with it or not, we all have the right to free speech, and whether if we agree with her political stances that she's taken in the past or anything like that, she's still an American that is caught up in a Russian prison that experiences God knows what every single day, something I hope I never experience.
Probably a lot of punani.
She's been locked away in a Russian prison for like what 6 months now.
No, it's been since the war in Ukraine started. So what's that, like right around March, right, Combs? I think is when it started, like March, first week of March or something like that.
Yeah, it's about 3 months now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but still, much longer in a Russian prison than you ever want to spend in your entire life in a Russian prison.
She broke the law. She broke the law.
I definitely she did break the law. She did break the law. But the having a dab pen is not.
Do not try to justify it, Wyatt. It is against the law. Just because you guys do what you want in your Reynolds time in your basement, when they tell you not to do something in Russia, do not take this on the airplane. You are going to get caught up in it, and then she gets caught up, and then she wants to play this boohoo card. Shut the hell up. Like, suffer your consequences. You knew shit was coming down the pipe, and you still did it. That is like me telling my son, get your ass off the table, or I'm going to beat your butt, and then he looks at me like, ha, 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 and does a booty dance, stinky butt, and teabags like my wife. Like, I'm going to spank his butt, even though I think it's freaking hilarious. I'm still going to spank his butt because I told him not to do it, right? Like, I mean, she was completely stupid on the whole situation. So, Combs, let's go ahead.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
We're good.
No, what? Go ahead.
No, I agree. She definitely should not have had. She should not have been possessing marijuana while crossing into another country's customs. I absolutely agree with that. That right there off the bat is setting yourself up for failure in a situation, and especially at the fact that, like, you know, obviously she's an athlete as well, but Brittany Griner is one of the more popular female athletes. I would say if you ask anybody on earth who knows of a WNBA athlete, they're going to know of Brittany Griner.
Yep.
So she is definitely one of like the more polarizing figures. I mean, even since she was at Baylor, she's been, you know, a big figure. So I think, you know, with Russia noticing that she was a big figure in America, and the fact that she had, you know, illegal substances, I think that right there just was like, oh, we can exploit this. So,
oh yeah, it was definitely
kind of what happened.
It was definitely a political move, 100% on the Russian part. They're saying, hey, don't.
Would any of us be surprised if it comes to light that Russia actually planted this in her bag?
No, because you can tell just by she carries herself, she is a freaking pothead, dude. Like, you can tell she smokes a lot.
Wyatt's in college, you know, he's smoking now, and you know, I mean, so sometimes it's just part of the trade, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, a part of the trade, obviously, guys, the draft day has all wrapped up, and I got to thinking, me and my wife were watching a great movie last night called Draft Day. I'm sure you guys have all seen it, right? It is basically going through a morning of the draft with the Cleveland Browns, right?
Plus your picks.
Yeah. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Draft Day is the greatest football movie of all time.
Oh, God.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you have recency bias.
Okay. Combs, like, you are saying it is a hot take, but I can watch Draft Day every day, and I'm intrigued by it every time. What football movie is better than Draft Day?
The problem is, Buck, is that you could watch a movie tomorrow and be like, "Oh, that's the greatest movie of all time now, too."
No,
like you are the king of living in the moment and going crazy. Very much so. But you do it. Buck does it with everything. Buck does it with everything. No way is Draft. Look, Draft Day was a very good movie. It did a very good job of taking you inside a draft room. It did a good job of taking you inside a GM. It did that. But, I mean, look, you've got, remember, the Titans. You've got, what was the one, the high school one there? Varsity Blues.
Friday Night Lights.
You've got, like, Friday Night Lights was, Friday Night Lights was a good one. You had, God, I mean, just so many
The
good
Blind Side is good
out there that are better than Draft Day.
Blindside.
Yeah, but Blind Side wasn't as much a football movie. Like, it was kind of a football movie, but then, I mean, you got Unnecessary Roughness was a great movie.
I haven't seen that.
I mean, I'm just going off of, like, movies that I can remember. I know there's a couple out there I'm missing, but there's so many better football. Hell, Jerry Maguire is a better football movie than
Whoa.
Draft Day. I mean,
You can show me all the money you want, but Jerry Maguire is not even a top 10 football movie, Combsy.
oh, you're crazy.
No.
You're crazy. Jerry Maguire was a great football movie.
So put the money where the mouth is, Combs. What is the greatest football movie of all time then?
It's got to be Remember the Titans. I think Varsity Blues is a close second, but Remember the Titans is the best football movie of all time.
Wyatt, you are about half of Combs' age. Actually, may even three-fourths of like Combs' age because he's old as balls. What is your favorite movie of all time? Favorite football movie of like all time?
I agree 100%. I think my favorite football movie of all time, and this is like one of my favorite sports movies ever, is Remember the Titans. It's just like Denzel's character is just so incredible, mixed in with just the story and like the lessons you learn in it, and like everything going with it. There's so much you can take in from that movie. There's so much that we can learn, not just about football, but about society and all that with the movie. So it's a great movie. I think it's probably top 3 favorite movies in general for me. That movie's awesome. As for Draft Day, I would go as far to say that Draft Day is probably a top 5 football movie. I would say that. I will give you that. Draft Day is a really good movie. I don't think it's one though. I think if I had to say it, it would be 1 is Remember the Titans, 2 is Friday Night Lights for me. If you've ever seen
Have you ever seen Varsity Blues? Are you old enough to see Varsity Blues?
Yes. I am not
It actually
old enough to
came
have
out the
seen it
year
when it
he was
came out,
born.
But did it really?
No, I think it came out before you're born, like 99, 98 maybe.
Yeah, it came out in the 90s.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think it was before that, like 95.
Oh, yeah. Then it is older than me. But yes, I have seen Varsity Blues. I have not seen it in a while, but I have seen it, and it is a great movie. And
Do you
I would
close
say
your
it
eyes
is
during the
also
whipped cream
a top
bikini?
5.
Wyatt doesn't last to the whipped cream bikini part because his pants are already wet at that given time.
You want to know another top 5 movie though?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want another top 5 movie that we didn't name? That's football movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Longest Yard.
Which one? When Adam Sandler is
one. Adam Sandler. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I do like the Adam Sandler one better than the Burt Reynolds ones myself.
Me too.
So
Burt Reynolds one is good, but it's just like Adam Sandler's is way better. I've never understood that argument.
So you have to understand when that Longest Yard was made. Burt Reynolds was a god among men. He had the sex appeal of everything. He was making a movie like every 3 weeks, like it seemed like something out with like Burt Reynolds was out.
Smokey and the Bandit came out.
Yeah. So Smokey and Bandit is like my all time favorite movie. I can watch that every hour on the hour. So Trent Mason, my man, what's up, Trent? He says Any Given Sunday is a top movie.
There's another good one.
He said he's just joking, but Any Given Sunday, that is exactly how a NFL locker room is. I bet, like a player gets a big ego, and then a team shits the bed like the very next week. It is probably because like all of the off the field stuff. And just like Jamie Foxx is just like, I love Jamie Foxx as an actor just in general. But moving on here, Combs, before we let you go for the day here, the NFL.com released their post-draft power rankings here. At number 1, the Buffalo Bills. Number 2, the LA Rams. Both of those were unchanged. Up from 4 to 3 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cincinnati Bengals dropped to number 4. The Green Bay Packers are sitting at number 6. The Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at number 7. And your Chicago Bears come in at number 31, Combs. They are the
So do I like what they're doing? Polls, yes. Do I like the hire of Matt Eberflus. I'm not sure yet. So there are a couple of guys who I wanted to see before that. I don't even really know much about Matt Eberflus. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that he's the right guy. I'm hopeful that they got it right this time. I'm not, I'll wait and see because I'm a fan, but unlike Wyatt, I'm a realistic fan. So I just want to see what they have first.
So Combs, pre-show, like when I told Wyatt that the Bears came in at number 31, his jaw literally landed on the floor. I had to go grab my fishing pole and reel it up to like, get it back in, to get it back intact. He was legitimately shocked that the Bears were that bad. The only team that was ranked below the Chicago Bears were the Houston Texans, and rightfully so. So Wyatt, if you were to put the Chicago Bears in some type of power ranking form, besides 31, where would you have them? Is it top 20? Is it top 15? Is it a top 5 team? Where would you have the Chicago Bears?
Well, first off, I don't mean to bring this back at all, but I was just thinking about it, and we forgot a legendary football movie, which is Rudy. And second,
I don't like Rudy.
Back to the point here, what we were talking about. Yeah, I was just more like shocked because I'm a huge believer in Justin Fields. This is something that I've been saying since he was in college, through last year's draft process. And the fact that they were at 31 was, I guess, more surprising. I really didn't expect them to be that low in people's eyes. I mean, they're obviously the Chicago Bears, so I figured that it wasn't going to be too high. But I would say I was genuinely surprised that they weren't, because I mean they're a bad team, but they're not like they still are going to win.
They're a bad
games,
good team, right? They're the best of the bad teams.
Yeah, like the Bears this year are going to win. Like they're going to be in a lot of games, but they're going to lose a lot of games. But they're going to win like 3 games, and Justin Fields. Or, I mean, 3 of those 6 wins are going to be like Justin Fields taking over in the end and, showing flashes of greatness for the future. So I would have them at the absolute minimum. I think they have to at least be top 25.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like,
yeah, that's what I was
Bears
thinking.
Have always got
too,
a great
24.
defense too.
So you said
24 for me is the right spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about top 20, but yeah, top 25 and 24. 24 is a good spot. I like that.
Yeah, so you guys are putting them above like 7 to 8 teams, and I mean the Philadelphia Eagles.
I just think 7 to 8 teams are better than
what?
If you take the bottom 8 teams of the 8 divisions in football, I think all of those teams are probably worse than the Bears.
Really? So
that's coming from a Packers fan. They're of the 3 tier of the divisions. So they're not going to be better than the 1 and 2 seeds in each division, and they're not better than pretty much any of the other 3 seeds for the divisions, but they're better than at least all the 4 seeds, I think.
I don't see them better than any team in the AFC besides the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I guess the Houston.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
They're not better than the Jets?
No,
They're not better than the Jets or the Texans?
So we are going to talk about the Jets draft,
like
later on next week. But I think the Jets.
They had a 0.0 quarterback rating. They had a 0.0 quarterback. They would have literally been better to turn around and spike the ball, and they would have had a better QBR every single play that they were going to throw to the receiver being covered by Sauce Gardner. So they've got that guy. So they've got their next Revis Island, and they've got the head coach. Robert Saleh is a heck of a head coach. I really, really like. He's so much better than Adam Gase, at least. Yeah. They've moved on from that. They got Breece Hall in the 2nd round, so they've got a good running back now that they can kind of go with, and they've already got Michael Carter, who's a good running back from last year. So their running back room is getting better. Their wide receiver room is improving. They got Corey Davis, and this year Garrett Wilson. When they drafted Garrett Wilson, that's a huge, huge pickup for them. The wide receiver room got better. They got C.J. Uzomah from the Bengals. That's a nice tight end addition. Their offensive line is starting to shape up more. Their defense is really starting to shape up more too. So I don't know. I think the Jets.
They're a 4-win team.
I think this is to prove it. I don't doubt that, but I think this is a prove it year for Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson doesn't, at least, kind of like last year with Justin Fields, where Justin Fields wasn't great by any means, and the Bears weren't great either, but Justin Fields still had those plays where he showed flashes. Like, okay, This guy is still a guy. Like we can still clearly see that the talent is there. It's just he plays for a dysfunctional organization, and it takes some time for him to get adjusted to the league. So if he has a season this year coming up, if Zach Wilson does like Justin Fields last year, I don't necessarily doubt that this team could be a threat in their division and be a playoff team maybe. It's all going to be up to Zach Wilson and how he plays, though. It's all up to him.
Very, very true, because he is the leader of the ship there. But Combs, like I do know you got to get off to work here, and you have a busy day of front of you. Tell the people what you're doing tomorrow, Combsy.
I don't know. What am I doing tomorrow?
It's May 6th. Chicago Cubs, Kansas City Royals, maybe? No, Cubs and White Sox, is it? Yeah.
No, Cubs and White Sox.
Yeah.
Cubs and White Sox. But this week I'll be at Wrigley covering the Cubs versus Dodgers for Belly Up Sports. I've been working in the works with them, becoming the Chicago sports beat writer, and so yeah, I'll be out at Wrigley. I'll be interviewing some players. I'll be trying to get them to come on the Man Hour. I'll be telling them that Wyatt is a big fan, and I'll tell them that if they could send him a glove, because I keep forgetting to. And I'll be at Wrigley all weekend.
Combs is being modest, Wyatt. Combs is taking the mound for the Chicago Cubs against the Chicago White Sox. He's going to strike out Tim Anderson not once, not twice, but 3 times in 7 innings, and he is going to get that victory at 2-0 over the White Sox.
I can't do much worse than their current pitching staff.
True. Combs, have a great day. Enjoy yourself tomorrow. I'll definitely look forward to reading that article.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
All right, later, bub. All right, guys, that takes us up to our first break here. On the other side of the break, Mr. Wyatt Williams, we have the infamous fact or crap. Guys, if you ever want to give us a fact or crap statement, hit me up on the old Twitter machine at manhour_buck. Give me hashtag fact or crap and tag me, or slide into the DMs as well. And Wyatt and myself will get up here every Thursday morning and let you guys know if the statement is fact or if it's crap. Guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Once I'm home from work and relaxing,
I watch Man Hour while doing dishes.
In bed, hiding from your wife and kids.
what do you do when your husband and kid are obsessed with the Man Hour? You watch it with them.
Have you ever wanted to go to Vegas to see the NFL draft? Well, now you can. Simply head over to youtube.com/manhour, click on that join button, become a $5.99 member or higher, and you get free entry. Simple as that. So head over to youtube.com/manhour and hit that join button. You won't regret it.
You're watching Man Hour. Hit that like button, baby.
Man Hour Nation, it's your boy BC Beastie Brandon Combs coming to you with a special message. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Now, that's 22 too many. And here at the Man Hour, we want to bring awareness to this. Our brothers and sisters deserve our support and our help with Now, with the Take 22 merch, it's a small opportunity to show our appreciation and support to our veterans and take a small step to ending veteran suicide and treating PTSD properly. Every dollar spent on our Take 22 merch will be donated to the cause. So, Man Hour Nation, rise up and show your support.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheit's on with the Wyatt Williams tonight. You can find us both on Twitter at manhour_Buck, and you can find Wyatt at _Wyatt Williams on the old Twitter machine, guys. Give us a follow, like some of our content, because guys, we were consistently posting stuff over there. Also, if you guys have missed any part of the show whatsoever, or you simply want to say what BC said about Brittany Griner, or if you want to know what the best football movie is of like all time, simply head over to youtube.com/Man Hour, guys, and we upload the clips every 3 hours over there. That's 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m., 11 p.m., and 2 a.m., all East Coast time. So, guys, I am working around the clock getting you guys great content out there. And we're putting stuff on Instagram and Facebook. So pretty much anywhere you guys social media is active besides TikTok, because TikTok, I haven't figured out how to, shake my booty quite enough on TikTok to gain that following. So maybe Wyatt can give us a little jiggle on the old TikTok. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, pretty much if you don't have T and A on TikTok, like they cut you off, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So Wyatt, 7:40 East Coast time right here on the East Coast. It is Thursday, and we have a segment called Fact or Crap that we do every week at this time. So basically what you guys do is you hit us up on the... What's that?
Thirsty Thursday, but it's also Thurby.
Thurby, that's what they call it. Like an hour ago, I was trying to think of the words. I'm like, what is those words? Thurby, that's what it is. Thurby.
I already said,
yeah, Thurby.
Wednesday is like Wednesday to the Wire, something like that.
Yeah.
Thursday is Thurby, Friday is Oaks, and Saturday is the Derby, and then like this whole week is called like the America's Day at the races or something.
Yeah, I watched the Steamboat races last night.
Oh, they had that last night.
It was a very steamy situation as it come down neck to neck of who could puff up the most smoke, and the guy with the most smoke won the Steamboat race. So it was pretty cool. Did you catch that? Puns there, Wyatt. Did you catch it with your glove that you have?
I'm more or less. Depends where you are too on the riverside. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, depending on where you are, your seats, who you're with, all that stuff. But you should definitely at least you should definitely at least go once.
Yeah, well, maybe when the kids are a little bit older.
Fireworks at all?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Are River and Trip scared of fireworks at all?
So Trip was born in the pandemic, right? So we have really not taken him to any concerts or loud noises or anything to that effect. So I can't answer that question, but River loves the crap out of it. So he's
yeah, they would have a blast.
Yeah.
Then. Oh yeah.
So, all right, guys. So let's get into some factor crap here. So, guys, basically what we do is I pull these off of Twitter, and they are addressed to me at manhour_Buck with the hashtag fact or crap. And you guys give me a statement, and Wyatt and myself can figure out if it's fact or crap. So, Wyatt, fact or crap number 1. This one is geared toward the Deebo Samuel controversy that's happening in San Francisco. Obviously, he has asked for a trade. He wants out because he's being basically used way too much. He's being used and abused and put away wet. So, fact or crap? If Deebo Samuels does not get traded and he happens to drop a game-winning catch, the fans will point to this as he did this on purpose. Fact or crap?
I'd say crap. I don't think they'd point to it like he did it on purpose, but I definitely think that like something would be made out of it. I don't know necessarily if I would freak out and be like, "Oh, Deebo was trying to throw games," because we can look back in history and even some of the greatest wide receivers of all time have dropped wide open passes. I mean, what was it? pretty much the downfall of Julio Jones in Atlanta and I guess Tennessee after that. The downfall of him was where he had that wide open ball in the end zone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Literally just Julio and a ball. Like, that's a guaranteed touchdown, right? Nope. He goes in to catch it, bounces right off his hands, hits the ground, and everybody's like, oh my God, Julio Jones, one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play football, just dropped a wide open touchdown.
Right.
So
he was hurt, but he was like, I don't know, third or fourth string on that team, and like he got cut. I mean, you're definitely right about the whole slope thing or the cliff, or like he just jumped off. But to answer the question, the fans are 100% going to say fact, just because we are seeing things now where everything's kind of getting jaded, because with the Calvin really gambling thing, every time the Falcons lose a game and he drops a pass or he doesn't go for the extra yardage, right, they're going to point, well, does he have money on this game? Yada, yada, yada. And that's exactly what the fans are in San Francisco are going to be questioning about Deebo Samuel. You know, just because his whole argument of getting traded is that he doesn't want to use and abuse his body the way they have been. So is he going to put his body on the line to get that extra yard, to dive in for the end zone? And if he doesn't do that, the fans are going to be upset, unfortunately. And now, me as a football player and like you, Wyatt, knowing athletes and, you know, Trey and like all those guys, you know that we don't really have a off switch. Like, it is balls to the wall. I'm going to do the best I can every time I'm on the court, like just like on the field. But a normal fan, somebody that's passionate about their team, that's been drinking too many Bud Lights in the afternoon, well, why didn't he dive? He's getting $17 million. He can put his body on the line, yada, 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 right? I mean,
couch coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the
Couch
way it
coach.
is. So I think it is a 100% fact. If something like that does happen where he doesn't put his body on the line, if he drops a wide open pass, you know, if he runs out of bounds when he normally would like lower his shoulder, they'll be like, hey, we should have traded this guy.
See, I'm going to say, yeah, I think there's definitely going to be something there for that. But I would say it's more for the run game. I would say if San Francisco next year struggles really bad in the run game and they, you know, let's say the run game is the reason why they can't win games and stuff like that, I think that would be more. People are going to be like, well, look, now because you didn't do this and you're selfish, your team's not winning games. So you need to just do whatever wins your team games. I think that's more of a big possibility in my eyes. Is that happening? Is
I did not think about that.
The running back
a great
room
point, yeah.
and the 49ers getting injured like it always does, because the 49ers running back room always gets hurt. It is like fast too. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, we're out of running backs. We got to go grab, hey, Deebo, come over here. You're in the running back room today.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would say it's more of that, more of a possibility of like, oh, because he didn't play running back, the team is losing and it's his fault.
Yeah. Well, only time will tell. And heck, we could see a pass-happy offense come out of San Francisco now that Mike McDaniels is a head coach down there in Miami. So moving on to the next Factor Crap. If you guys ever want to slide us a Factor Crap, slide into my DMs on the old Twitter machine at manhour_buck. But Wyatt, this next Factor Crap is about the Dallas Cowboys. Imagine that. So Jerry Jones was in a minor car accident, a minor fender bender, and all of a sudden it is headline news across the world. So fact or crap here, Mr. Wyatt Williams, the Wyatt Williams, the best head of hair in all sports talk radio. The Dallas Cowboys can be 0-17 for the next straight for 4 years in a row, and if something happens in Cowboys land, they will still be the leading story in SportsCenter. Fact or crap?
Fact. Yeah, I think it's like the same. It's the same thing with the Yankees. The same thing with the Lakers. It's the star. It's the brand. It's the logo. Like a poll came out recently for the most liked team across like the world, and the Cowboys, like they showed the countries, and the Cowboys were for America. And that's like even still this day, the Cowboys are America's team, even though they suck, and they have sucked for a really long time. It's the star. It's Jerry. It's, you know, I mean, he's he is an owner in the NFL and still manages to be like one of the faces of the league. So I mean, he's like, he doesn't play a single down, he doesn't coach at all, he doesn't really draft at all. I mean, he has a little input in that, but not a lot.
Not anymore.
All he does is spend money for the team and everything like that. He's a behind the scenes guy, but yet he's not just like, and I'm not saying he's a face of the Cowboys here. I'm saying he's like one of the faces of the league, like the whole thing, the whole operation. He's one of those faces where, like, when you think of the league, Jerry Jones is just one of those guys. So yeah, like I said, it's just that popular team effect. If like, remember whenever Krzyzewski this year was retiring and like they were like, oh my God, we have to do a ceremony for every one of his last games. Like, oh, he's playing Syracuse for the last time. Let's film it and post it on everything. This is Krzyzewski's last time playing Syracuse, him and Jim Boeheim, like all these games that really didn't even matter. And like, you could see Krzyzewski was even like getting a little frustrated at it too. He's like, I don't want this to be what the season is about. I'm here to coach basketball. That's what I'm here for. So, it's just that it's more or less the brand, and how he has really taken that and flourished with that brand. And it's Jerry's world. It's the star. It's everything. It's, he's he is the Cowboys.
Yeah. And just to add to your point there, Jerry Jones is a self-made man. Like we all know that song. Started from the bottom, now we're here, right? He started in the oil fields, and then he bought the oil field, and then he sold the oil field, and then he bought the Cowboys, right? I mean, he is America's story on America's team. So, and he is so gratefully polarized in this Dallas Cowboy realm that the people that hate the Dallas Cowboys talk more about how much they hate the Dallas Cowboys than they talk about their own team. Like, I'm in several trash talk groups, NFC East trash talk group that we have on Facebook that's powered by Man Hour, and people are more worried about posting memes about how bad the Cowboys suck, and then they don't want to talk about their own teams. And that just shows you like how popular, how polarizing they are. So, I mean, it is 100% fact that the Cowboys cannot win a game for the next 10 years, and something stupid happens like Jerry Jones gets in a fender bender. It's going to be headline breaking news because everybody wants to talk about the Cowboys. You can never keep them out of your mouth enough, unfortunately. And so we do have Nana pop in the chat. Good morning, Nana. She says morning, y'all. So Wyatt, say hello to your Nana, even though you are second favorite now.
I'm not getting like updated comments.
Because we're not live on StreamYard. We go live through OBS and that's where I go in comments. Yeah, so.
Okay, I can't see any comments.
Yeah.
This is the only comment I've got. Live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example, yeah.
Yeah, nope. So, yeah, so if you go to youtube.com, you'll be able to see the comments and whatnot, Wyatt. But next up on the old factor crap here, we all know that Malik Willis was drafted by the by the Tennessee Titans, and Ryan Tannehill come out and basically said that I am not a mentor for him. If he wants somebody to help him out, reach out to such and such, right? So later in the day, Ryan Tannehill comes out and says that he was in a very dark place when he said those things. He has since been to therapy. That was literally like 2 days ago. So apparently he got help within a day and changed his life around in a 24-hour period. So Wyatt, factor crap, Ryan Tannehill going to therapy, air quote there, because he was in a dark place because he doesn't want to mentor Willis is all bluff. Factor crap.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I would say you're saying, so the question is, it's all bluff, fact.
Let me answer this for you, Wyatt. I am a straight shooter, and I don't care what people think about me or what they have to say. This is complete fluff. This is a complete, like, I messed up and I'm going to backtrack and say, oh, my bad, honey. Let me clean the house for you, even though I went party out the night before and I trashed the house, yada, yada, yada. And he's cleaning up his own mess. Basically what happened here is Ryan Tannehill was speaking from the heart. He was being Aaron Rodgers. Why are you drafting a quarterback? You got me, right? Like I am not going to teach any young player to be a professional athlete, yada, 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 and like all this crap. And then his agent is like, hey, man, you know, next year our contract's up and we need some money. You know, you could be the next highest paid quarterback in the league if you play your cards right. Maybe you need to go to therapy because you were in a dark place. Why? This is 100% fluff. This is 100% playing the long game, playing chess for next year when that next contract is up. Because Ryan Tannehill was playing checkers when he made those comments about Malik. And unfortunately, his agent's playing chess, so that's why he went to therapy, because he was in a dark place, Wyatt. This is complete fluff. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I guess I don't really know. I kind of thought the comments from the beginning were stupid on him. I just thought that, you know, what he said was just dumb. I was like really. It was so like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers-esque. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Except for Brett Favre was good enough to back it up. Ryan Tannehill's not that good. Like Ryan Tannehill's good, but he's not like, oh, I'm good enough to tell you what I'm gonna. He's not that guy. You know what I mean? Like he is not. There's just a certain level of respect you have to, for you to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want in the league, and for you to be able to just kind of, you know, I don't know, not boss around your franchise, but tell them, you know, I don't know, that, you know, you're not going to mentor the incoming guy.
Yeah.
For you to do things like that, I feel like you have to be at least a, you know, legendary.
How about this? You have to lead your team to a Super Bowl. That would help. Right?
There you go.
I mean, but like, let's just be flat out honest. When you are a starting player in the NFL and then the draft comes and they draft a player in your same position, you can think that all you want, like, oh, this guy, I'm not going to help him out. I'm better than like him, yada, yada, yada. But you have to be PC. You are a professional athlete. You have to be PC. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to welcome him with, like, open arms. I'm shoot him a text. Hey, man, welcome to the team, yada, yada, yada. But you know, deep down, you want to whip his butt every day at practice. Hell, he is not going to take my bag. Like, this bag's mine. This is my team. I was here for him. But you got to say the right thing in the end. So, unfortunately, Ryan Tannehill got caught up, and his hot wife, smoking hot, should probably keep that man in check a little bit. So, why on the next fact or crap here, this is geared out to the Cincinnati Bengals. So, obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals went from a complete dog trash team to Super Bowl runners-up. So, fact or crap, Wyatt, the Cincinnati Bengals have to make it to at least the second round of the playoffs this year to be deemed not a fluke.
I will say fact actually on this. This is a tough one because a lot of people have really kind of, you know, gone after the narrative of the Bengals are, you know, a Super Bowl caliber team. And last year they, you know, obviously they proved that because they went to the Super Bowl. And literally if Joe Burrow has another half of a second to throw, if Aaron Donald doesn't make his, hey, I'm a Hall of Fame legend play, then I think they actually win that game. I really do. So obviously in their locker room, they just went to the Super Bowl, so they're expecting to go back. So anything less in their eyes is going to be a failure. So yeah, I would say the same. Anything less than a Super Bowl is a failure for a team that just went to the Super Bowl. But at the same time, to be deemed not a fluke, you have to at least see the divisional round. I think.
Yeah.
If you lose in the wild card round, I mean, yeah, you made the playoffs, but it's just like losing in the wild card round is pretty much like you didn't really make the playoffs. Like coaches still get fired all the time after losing in the wild card round. Like you're not gonna have guaranteed job security if you lose in the wild card round every year. That's just not. It's not gonna happen. If you lose in the NFC divisional round every year, and, you know, every couple of years go to the, you know, championship rounds or maybe even the Super Bowl, You know, if you do that, I think your job security is fine. But if you lose in the wild card round every year or something like that, you would definitely, your job would be, you know, up for grabs. So for them to fall anything short of the divisional round, yeah, I would say would be disappointing.
So it's kind of funny that you say that, because Marvin Lewis literally made a career for the Cincinnati Bengals by making it just to the wild card round and losing every time you make it to the wild card. But that's
why he's not in the league anymore.
But he also coached for like 12 years though too, by just making it to the wild card round. But nonetheless, here
he did. I mean, it's gonna last, but
yeah. So
eventually they're gonna get tired of it.
So the Cincinnati Bengals, guys, let's not forget that they were just 10-7 in the regular season. So it is not like they had like a barn burner season, right? They're 13-3 or 13-4, right? And they were just winning like all these games. They were 10-7. They actually had to like win, I think, the last they had to win the final game of the season to make it to the playoffs, like what it ultimately came down to, if my mind serves me correctly. So, but also on the flip side of that coin, the Bengals had a fourth place schedule. So their schedule was fairly easy on paper, right? This year they'll have a first place schedule, which is going to be a lot harder. So to be deemed, quote, not a fluke, that they got to make it past the second round, why I'm going to have to say that is fact as well. Like I think they have to make a deep playoff run, meaning make it to the second round or third round. They have to win at least one game in the playoffs for them to like really build on that success, to have that longevity success like we've seen in the Patriots and now the Kansas City Chiefs and, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers possibly, right? Many people could have deemed them a fluke as well, from Super Bowl champs to not even, you know, doing well in the playoffs like the following season. Yes, they definitely have to make it past that. They have to win at least one game to be deemed a fluke, not in 2021. So Wyatt, do you want one more factor crap, or should we go to break?
Let's do it. I love these. These are so much fun.
So this next factor crap, we will save the international football games for next week, just because, you know, we'll be breaking down the schedules and like whatnot. But this factor crap is going to come out from Chiefs Kingdom, right? So I did a show. I did a solo show a couple weeks ago about how Tyrann Mathieu was saying, oh, if Kansas City would just offered me a contract, I would.
So you had to kind of imagine, especially with the fact that he had switched teams so much, you had to kind of imagine that at some point it was all going to come full circle and he was going to head back home to New Orleans. So I wasn't really surprised, especially since New Orleans just lost, why am I forgetting his name? Marcus Williams, and their safety to the Ravens. Gosh, the Ravens really got him, and then they just drafted Kyle Hamilton. Their secondary, they got Marcus Peters too. I just realized that. But anyways, Tyrann Mathieu, I'm staying focused here. So yeah, I think this is a great sign by the Saints. I think this was a huge signing by them. Actually, they're really getting to the point now to where like they're a quarterback, and we'll see about the coach. If their coach they have now is good, then they're only a quarterback away. But as of right now, until I see, you know, how the coach is, you just lost the offensive wizard of Sean Payton. So that's a huge loss. You just lost Drew Brees, so that era is completely over now. So if they can find a way to fill that quarterback spot too, and they can find a way to fill that coach's spot, if, you know, this coach doesn't work out, then I think the Saints team is setting themselves up for success in the near future. If they can get a quarterback.
Yeah, so I'm not saying Tyrann Mathieu is a bad player by any means. What I am going to say, though, is that he is a drama queen. He likes the attention. He likes all the drama. And the simple fact of, like, what you just said, Wyatt, this is his fourth team in the NFL. He was drafted by the Houston Texans, went to the Arizona Cardinals, went to the Chiefs, and now he is with the New Orleans Saints. So when we sit back and we think about that, like, he was literally begging the Chiefs to take him back. But this is the same guy that trolled the Kansas City Chiefs for weeks on end, saying that we have the most toxic fan base and we don't deserve the win and all this other crap and yada, yada, yada. And then you expect us to sign you? Like, Tyrann Mathieu, you are a complete ridiculous drama queen. So I'm going to say crap that no team wanted him because obviously there was a market out there for him. He visited the Steelers. He visited, I think, the Raiders as well and the Saints, and he was in talks with the 49ers as well. So there were teams out there that were willing to get him. But the whole drama aspect of it really just irritated the piss out of me. Like, I'm not even going to front. As a Chiefs fan, I was legitimately upset. And I am really, really glad that the New Orleans Saints got the Kansas City Chiefs sloppy seconds. They got Sorensen and Honey Badger, both from Kansas City's secondary, and this is the worst secondary in all of football the last 2 seasons.
I kind of knew in March whenever the Chiefs signed Justin Reed.
Yeah.
I kind of knew then at that point that the Honey Badger was going to be on the market.
So
that was kind of the end. You could tell.
I thought he could possibly make a comeback because we did get rid of Sorensen, right? I was like, well, there's still an opening for him, right? And then we didn't sign him pre-draft, and then we drafted a safety in the draft and a cornerback as well. I'm like, well, this guy's gone. So it was good and gone, like at that point. But we're up against our next break here. On the other side of the break, guys, we are going to talk the NFC East. That is the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Commanders. Wyatt is going to give us our draft grade for each of those teams, and then we're going to pick the division winner. So, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. We'll be right back after this little break.
What's going on, Belly Up sports fans? Thanks for tuning in to the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We have some really exciting news for several Belly Up Podcast Network shows. The Sports Stove Podcast, the Rough Cut Sportscast, and Here in Puckburg have all been nominated for a Sports Podcast Award. So, head on over to sportspodcastawards.com and make sure to vote for the Sports Stove Podcast for Best College Sports Podcast and Best News and Current Affairs Podcast. Vote for the Rough Cut Sportscast for Best American Football Podcast, and vote for Here in Puckburg for Best Winter Sports Podcast. Again, that website is sportspodcastawards.com. Thanks for being the best part of Belly Up Sports. We are what they are.
I've got an itch I can't scratch. I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me. An open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly. Thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase the bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I gotta taste and that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Lonely now, I'll give up everything. The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many ones that I saw they get famous, and when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
welcome back to Man Hour, guys. Michael Buck Kaiser with, along with D. Wyatt Williams. You can find us both on Twitter at manhour_Buck and, of course, _ Wyatt Williams on Twitter. Hit us up, give us a follow, retweet and like some of our stuff as well. We see some people pop in the chat. We see our man Trent. We see Rule of Jungle. We see Nana. Drew, what's going on? Guys, I hope you're having a great Thursday. Thursday here, Thirsty Thursday, all the good stuff happening. We had a great conversation with Combs earlier in the show. We got done with our Thursday edition of Fact or Crap. But why? This is the main part of the show. Hour number 2, we are breaking down all NFL divisions, giving them draft grades before the schedule releases next Thursday, and then we'll break down each team of those schedules, give wins, losses, and playoff records and all that stuff. But Wyatt, it is time to start off with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, they are just a year removed from having a terrible defense. Last year, their defense was pretty damn good, even though Diggs, I forget his first name, was the worst cornerback in the league with the most interceptions. So wrap your head around that. So they definitely needed some defensive help. They need some offensive line help and all that good stuff. But why? How did the Dallas Cowboys do in this year's draft?
Well, first off, they came into this draft with some big needs for a couple of positions. That being the This is the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys offensive line. They know what they're doing. They've historically, that's been the one thing that the Cowboys have always been able to nail. Like, always been able to just hit the nail right on the head. Bang. So while, like I said, while it is not probably what I would have gone with at that pick, I still trust them on that. Now, as we look down the list, they had a bunch of 5th-round picks. They had a 6th rounder, and they had one 4th rounder as well. So starting with the 4th rounder, Jake Ferguson, tight end out of Wisconsin. They got him pick 129. Jake Ferguson is a great all-around tight end. He can do pretty much everything for you. But the problem with that is they've already got Dalton Schultz. And they've already got who's the one behind him? Blake Jarwin. They've already got Jarwin behind him, and then another tight end behind that. So they didn't really need to build on the tight end depth. I thought really they needed to build on the wide receiver depth. They needed pass catchers, but not the tight end pass catchers. They needed wide receivers, which they did get Tolbert above that in the 3rd round. But with the departure of Amari, Tolbert's not going to be able to fill those shoes. CeeDee Lamb is going to have to fill those shoes. Then Michael Gallup is going to have to stay healthy and fill his shoes, and down the list. So Tolbert is going to have to fill Michael Gallup's shoes, and then after that, you had somebody else needs to be thrown in that rotation right there. So they needed another wide receiver, and there were plenty of guys in the 4th round they could have snagged there. But I will say, all around, Jake Ferguson is a good tight end. He is a good addition for this team, but just same thing with that 1st-round pick. It's a good addition, but it's not the it's not the 100% correct addition. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. As for the 5th round, I thought the 5th round overall was pretty solid. They went with some more offensive tackle depth there. Once again, losing La'el Collins to the Bengals, that's a really big one. So them adding Wallace, I cannot say his name. I have not been able to say his name forever. Matt Wallatzko, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State, out of North Dakota. He was a good addition for some offensive line depth, as well as they got Deron Bland, cornerback out of Fresno State, Damone Clark, linebacker out of LSU, and John Ridgway, defensive tackle out of Arkansas. So really, other than the one offensive tackle, went really defensive heavy here in the later rounds. So I think that defense was definitely something they needed to add depth to and something they needed to improve on. So I do like that. That they went with that. As for the 6th round pick, they had Devin Harper, linebacker out of Oklahoma State. This is a pretty solid pick for a 6th rounder. Excuse me. Devin Harper, 193. I thought he was more of a 4th, maybe 3rd round guy, a day 2 guy.
But he did fall to day 3. So then being able to pick up Devin Harper, I really thought was a good addition for them. But, and also when you look up at the second rounder, I forgot to mention him, Sam Williams, edge out of Mississippi. Again, another nice addition to this defense. Somebody that's going to come off the edge and get after the quarterback. So overall, I would say my top pick for this team, third, and I'm still kind of caught on the limb here. I would say third rounder Jalen Tolbert's probably the best pick here for this team. Like I said, a good addition. He's going to really fit that wide receiver room really well, and I think he's going to work extremely well with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Dak Prescott throwing in the ball. So I would say Tolbert's their best pick. And as for my draft grade, I am going to give them a B-.
Yeah, I think arguably this has been one of the worst drafts for the Dallas Cowboys that they've had in the last 4 or 5 years since they nailed it with like Dak and Zeke, and then CeeDee Lamb and like everybody else. Like they have definitely taken a few steps back in this year's draft. So you give them a B- on the draft grade. So do you think any of these draft picks will make a immediate impact on this team this year?
Yeah, I think actually several of them will. I think Tyler Smith does, because once again, if anybody you draft in the first round, that's the point of them being a first rounder. Immediate impact guys. They're guys you can throw in and start day one, and they can make an impact for your team. Unless if they're a quarterback, then you kind of just test the waters elsewhere. But especially with offensive linemen, if you draft them in the first round, they're a guy. They're going to start for you. And like I said, with them losing Leo Collins, they need to fill that right tackle position. So Tyler Smith is definitely going to go there. And I would say Tolbert's going to get a lot of reps this year. Tolbert's going to get a lot of reps. Their wide receiver one who took up a lot of reps, and Amari Cooper, since his departure, they're definitely going to have to fill that void. And somebody's going to have to, catch a lot of passes. So while CeeDee Lamb will become the wide receiver 1, Gallup ends up becoming the wide receiver 2. I think Tolbert can come in and be a wide receiver 3 and make an impact.
Yeah, so because we all know that Mike McCarthy is a very pass-happy offense, so, I mean...
He does not run the ball.
Adding tight ends and...
draft day and even the day before draft day had expressed multiple times, hey, we're willing to trade down from 6. We do not like that 6th pick, and we want to move back. Now, while they did end up taking somebody at that 6th overall pick, that's because both of the 2 incredible offensive tackles in this draft fell to them, and they got to pick of their choosings for either one. They ended up not trading back, and they also didn't trade back because Kayvon Thibodeau wasn't on the board anymore. Nobody was going to trade to get Kayvon Thibodeau, or he went on the board, so they couldn't have picked him. So no matter what, at the 6th overall pick, if Thibodeau is still there, he's gone. You don't get him at 7. So they took him with 5. And the reason why they did that is because they needed an offensive tackle. Ickey and Evan Neal are, in my eyes, 6-1, half dozen the other. I think they're both going to go on to have legendary NFL careers. I think they're both going to go on to have incredible success, in both of their respected teams and on both of their respected careers. I think they're both going to do great things. You cannot go wrong with either one. So what they did is they took Thibodeau with 5. At 6, the Panthers are obviously, since both tackles fell to them, they're going to take a tackle. But with them taking Thibodeau at 5, that guarantees that they get one of the tackles because they had the 7th overall pick. So unless if they choose to trade down, no matter what, either Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu was going to fall to them. So this was a huge draft play by the New York Giants. They got their defensive end, and if you have watched tape on Kayvon Thibodeau, you can see it. He is a wrecking ball. He just simply destroys offensive linemen, throws them to the ground and then grabs quarterbacks and just violates them. I mean, it just throws them to the ground even harder than they just, stuffed an offensive lineman to the ground. So I really think with the first round for the Giants, I give them an A+ for it for the first round. I think they did a incredible job with their first round. They got both of their guys that really they were not supposed to get. They've got arguably what could be the two best prospects in this draft. And now obviously now Aiden Hutchinson could be better. I'm just saying Thibodeau and Evan Neal in 10 years, we could look back and say these were the two best guys in this draft. There's really a shot that these could be the two best guys, and they got them at 5 and 7. And they got both of them. They got both of the guys they wanted and needed for their team. So like I said, first round, I got an A+ for them. After that, when you look at the second round, Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver out of Kentucky. Short speedster, a lot like Rondale Moore out in Arizona. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is a elusive playmaker. He makes explosive plays. Huge addition for them in the second round. And Wan'Dale kind of flew under the radar too for the wide receivers. On day 2, whenever, the days had started, some of the names being thrown around were Watson. Some of the names being thrown around were, Sky Moore. Some of the names being thrown around were George Pickens. You didn't really hear of Wan'Dale Robinson. And I was fairly surprised with that. I thought he was a really good wide receiver who had a great college career at Kentucky. And I was very impressed with their second round pick as well with Wan'Dale Robinson. After that, though, is where we get a little shaky until we get to the 5th round. So with round 3, both picks are okay. Izudu, they got some offensive line depth out of North Carolina, so that's a good addition. I did like that. But then with Cordell Flott, I just didn't feel like, I wasn't a big fan of Flott coming into the draft. And while, it wasn't a higher than 3rd round pick to get him, still, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of his game coming into this. So now on to the 4th round, Daniel Bellinger, tight end out of San Diego State. A guy who can actually come in and block and catch passes for you. He's got really good blocking upside. And then at the 114 spot, just 2 picks later, they've got Dean Belton, safety out of Iowa, so added some more to the defense. Now when we get to the 5th round is where it goes up again. Micah McFadden out of Indiana. This could be the steal of the draft. Micah McFadden was a great linebacker who had an awesome career at Indiana, and I was fairly surprised that he had fell to this point. I was surprised. I thought he was for sure a day 2 guy. I didn't think he was a day 3 guy, but he made it to day 3, and the Giants were able to capitalize on it. And they got themselves a good linebacker who could start next year, maybe even this year. It depends on how OTAs and the rest of the offseason goes. So with that being said, 5th round pick looked really good there. They had 2 more in DJ Davidson and Marcus McKeithen. Once again, just adding more to the offensive line. And I like that they went with 2 Carolina guards because the chemistry is already there. They've already built that. Those guys can work together. You already know somebody inside of the building now. So that right there immediately adds to the team chemistry. It's going to be a more enjoyable experience, heading to a new team and all that. So that just makes everything easier on your players. Then when we look at the 6th round, Darian Beavers, linebacker out of Cincinnati, another solid pick there. So overall, best pick for the New York Football Giants is number 5 overall, round 1, Kayvon Thibodeau, because of the way they played their cards. They were playing chess. The rest of the league was playing checkers, and they took advantage of that. And they got themselves, like I said, they got 2 great prospects in that first round. So overall, I was extremely impressed with both New York teams, with the Jets and the Giants drafts. I think both of them really just did a great job. But with that being said, I'm going to give the New York Giants, I'm going to give them a – see, this one's tough because I want to go A, but I feel like there was just a little bit of a drought from round 3 to round 4. So part of me wants to give them the A-, but you know what? Like I said, that first round move was an A+ move for me. I mean, it was impressive. I was really impressed with how the Giants handled that situation. Normally, it's dumpster fire time when that stuff comes about. So with that being said, I'll give them an A.
All right. So you're giving the New York Giants an A. The only thing that I don't like is that they did not explore opportunities to really build picks for next year, because if Daniel Jones is a bust, and isn't their quarterback, they might need those picks for next year to move up to get a solid quarterback in the draft. So that is the only thing I did not like about their draft. And as a passive Cowboys fan, it kind of pisses me off that they did so well in the draft. So I'm just going to point that out there, that I'm like, man, wow, the Giants might be relevant again because Saquon is healthy, right? They added weapons to the defensive side of the ball. They have a young receiver core. I mean, the Giants could be a sleeping giant here, and no pun intended there, but they definitely nailed the draft and did a great job. So moving on here to the next team here, Wyatt. It is the not the Washington Redskins, not the Washington football team. It is the Washington Commanders. So how did the Commanders do for the first time ever in the draft?
You'll like this. All my buddies, whenever they came out with the Commanders, we all hated it like everybody else did. So we call them the commies, the Washington commies now.
I actually saw a great meme on that. Like, you go from the Redskins and now you go to commies. Like, what's worse? But whatever. Like, it's here or there. All right, draft time.
But anyways, the Washington Commanders draft. Breaking it down from the top here, round 1, number 16, Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State, a super, super fast big play guy who is going to be incredibly nice pairing up with Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. Oh, my gosh. One of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. Throw in Jahan Dotson, and, I think this offense could really flourish with 2 explosive wide receivers. Next in round 2, Mathis Stevens, tackle out of Alabama. I mean, really, you can't go wrong getting an Alabama defender ever. Like, it's just, it works. It always works. So Mathis was a nice selection there in the second round. Round 3 was really where I got impressed with them as well, with Brian Robinson, running back out of Alabama. And this is a team that's always valued their running backs. So for them to just add to an already what I think is a stacked running back room with Gibson and also J.D. McKissick catching passes out of the backfield, throwing Brian Robinson in the mix now, you really add like a power back. You've got everything you need now. You've got Antonio Gibson, who's an elusive back and, can juke you out and run around you. You've also got J.D. McKissick, who's a receiving back, catches passes out of the backfield, can run the ball a little bit here and there. Now you've got your lower the shoulder, go through you guy and Brian Robinson out of Alabama. So I like that they added to the running back room here with that 3rd round pick. And they got a really influential guy too. This running back class was really not that great other than Brian Robinson, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker. Other than that, it really wasn't that solid of a running back crew. There was really just 3, 4, maybe 5 running backs that could possibly make a difference in the league for this class. So with that being said, for them to be able to snag what I believe is the 3rd best running back in this class in the 3rd round, thought it was a really good pick by them. I really did. After that, Percy Butler, safety. Once again, just adding some of that defensive back depth, something we saw a lot really in this draft for all teams. So adding Percy Butler there to throw in behind Landon Collins, and they're already pretty stacked DB crew that's already on a stacked defense. So I liked that. 5th round was cool for me. I liked the 5th round a lot for this team. Sam Howell was a surefire day 2 guy for me. I didn't think he was going to make it to the 3rd round. I was surprised that many of the quarterbacks lasted on the board as long as they did. So with that being said, they got Sam Howell in the 5th round. So you have invested literally just a 5th round pick in a guy who could be your starter, a guy who going forward you could throw in the mix there. And if it hits and it sticks, he could be a guy. He really could. He could be a dude who comes in for you and starts for, 12, 15 years at the quarterback position. And that's huge. And like I said, they got him in the 5th round. We've seen late round guys really, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady. There's been a lot of great late round guys who have flourished in the NFL. So Sam Howell with the 5th round pick, I really was a big fan of that. And this is already a team that their quarterback position for Washington, it is so wide open right now. I mean, we really could be talking in what, 3 months whenever the NFL season starts? Was it May? Yeah, we'd be talking in 3 months from right now. Sam Howell could be the starting quarterback for this team come August, September. I think so. I think he could be. Do I think it ends up happening? Probably not. They just traded for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz will try to take the job. But is there really a shot? Yeah, I think there's a genuine shot here that he could beat out Heineke and he could possibly beat out Carson Wentz, or Carson Wentz beats himself by getting injured, and same with Heineke. So Sam Howell, like I said, is a guy who could really start for this team and be a good quarterback, and they got him in the 5th round. I mean, this was a guy who last year, coming into the season, was a preseason, like, All-American, all this stuff, was preseason All-ACC, was projected a first, maybe 2nd round pick at the latest, but mainly a 1st round pick for Sam Howell. I mean, I saw some mock drafts last offseason for him that he was like a top 10 pick. And here he is. They got him in the 5th round. So, I mean, if they're seeing that stuff in him 2 years ago, and obviously they didn't have the year they were wanting to this year for Carolina. So a lot of people were kind of disappointed with him and felt like, that he wasn't worth drafting because of that. But I mean, you go look at the tape, go watch the tape. Sam Howell is a good quarterback. Watch what he does. He does it good. So that was just their first 5th round pick. Now I'm going to talk a bunch about their second 5th round. No, I'm just kidding. Their second 5th round pick, Cole Turner, tight end out of Nevada. There were 2 pass catchers out of Nevada that I was really impressed with coming into this draft. Cole Turner being one of those, and Romeo Doubs being one of those. And no, not Romeo Doubs, just because he went to the Green Bay Packers. But Cole Turner, tight end out of Nevada, just a guy who was a huge weapon for Strong in the Wolfpack system. So I think this is a big addition for them. They've already got Logan Thomas there in town, and I believe Jordan Reed is still on roster, but he's always hurt. He's so you need some tight end depth there, and to get Cole Turner yet again, another good viable option, you're getting in the 5th round. So I really thought their 5th round was great. You look at round 7 here, they got Chris Paul, the point guard. They actually took him out of the NBA. No, I'm just kidding. They got Chris Paul, the offensive guard out of Tulsa, and also Christian Holmes, cornerback out of Oklahoma State. Just some depth guys, some filler guys. Overall, I would say it was a good draft. My top pick for them is tough. I think it's between their 3rd round pick of Brian Robinson and their 5th round pick of Sam Howell. Even if Sam Howell doesn't pan out, you spent a 5th round pick on him. You invested pretty much, you've invested nearly nothing.
$2 million when it comes down to a 5th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, and if you get him in the 1st round, it's $30 million.
Yep.
So it's like you saved yourself $28 million, and you got a guy who was considered last year a 1st round guy. So with that being said, I just convinced myself with that I'm going with Sam Howell is my best pick for them. And my overall draft grade, a lot of people were not very fond of this draft and didn't give him a good grade. I think NFL.com had him at like a C or something like that. I didn't agree with that. I've got him more like a B+.
Yeah, I mean, basically stealing Howell at just in this draft, just at a 5th pick, just like what you said. I think this is the quarterback that is that he doesn't have the highest ceiling, but his floor is higher than everybody else's floor in the draft. He is going to be a game manager. He is going to nickel and dime you down the field. Do not take the term game manager as a bad thing. It is a good thing, because that's exactly what Washington needs. Washington needs a game manager and let their defense eat, and they're going to win a lot of games. So Hal is definitely a steal, Wyatt, and you are right. He could be a 10, 12, 13 year starter for the Washington Commanders if everything goes as planned. And I'm, like I said, as a Cowboys fan, I'm kind of scared to see it because the Commanders look pretty damn good. Hell, your boy Torrey had them going 13-4 last season. Granted, injuries really messed that up, but they're still a pretty good team. They still have Chase Young, that defense, Scary Terry, the running game, right probably one of the most underrated running games in the NFL. They're going to be really, really, really good. So moving to the last team here in the NFC East are your boy Blake Zender's Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles picked up A.J. Brown in the draft, so you can add that into your draft grade if you want. But what is their draft grade, Wyatt?
I would say this was the best draft in the NFC East. And I obviously they didn't draft A.J. Brown, but them sending the picks to get him was essentially them drafting him. So I'm going to count him in it. I'm going to count him in it. So, and really all they gave up for a 26-year-old stud who has nothing but up potential from here. And all they gave up was a mid-first rounder and a late third. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And they got and they got a guy who has already proven himself in the league. You already know he's going to play well. He's best friends with your quarterback. The chemistry's there. So that alone right there was a huge move for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles went into draft night. Before draft night, they went into it as I would say, maybe a last playoff spot contender. Like they maybe make the playoffs next year. After this draft, I think they've got a shot at doing something special. Like NFC championship level special, possibly. They got the wide receiver now. It's really going to be all up to how Jalen Hurts plays. And Jalen Hurts has got the reins on this. So looking at their draft, though, other than A.J. Brown that they had picked up and acquired for this team, number 13 overall, they got Jordan Davis, north tackle, defensive tackle out of Georgia. A one-man wrecking ball. I mean, he's 6'9", almost 400 pounds, and runs a sub 4.5 or sub 4.7 40, something like that. I mean, this is a refrigerator that runs 20 mile an hour. That's what this is. Jordan Davis is that guy. You don't want to get hit by that guy. He is going to pair up with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. And I mean, and they've already got TJ Edwards, who really came out of his shell last year and played extremely well. So Jordan Davis is a huge addition for this team. They did great with the first round. And really, I mean, I was just impressed with what they did on draft night 1. And I'm like, okay, how can they top this? And they did. Day 2, they get Cam Jurgens, who was a possible first round guy, and they got him in the second round, not even at the beginning of the second round. They got him at pick 51. That is late first round. That's their pick. They were, what were they? They were 20 something. I don't know what it was, but that's a late second round pick. That's not in the 30s. That's not in the 40s. That's in the 50s. Like that's a almost end of second round pick. And they got a day 1 guy, in my opinion. I really liked Cam Jurgens, and I thought he could have gone with Taylor Linderbaum in that first round. So right off the bat, already hitting out of the park again for day 2. So let's look at the next pick for day 2. Oh, that's right. It's first round linebacker Nakobe Dean. They got 3 first round guys: Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, and Nakobe Dean in the first, second, and third round. Bang, bang, bang. Huge explosions. It was incredible. Now, Nakobe Dean fell so far. A lot of people after the draft were like, why did Malik Willis and Nakobe Dean fall so far? Well, Malik Willis, it came out that all 32 scouts had consensusly agreed that just he wasn't their guy. So that right off the bat made him fall. Now, Nakobe Dean fell for a different reason. Nakobe Dean is extremely talented, should have went in the first round, but he didn't. The reason why is he had some kind of a pectoral tear, and I'm not sure what the details on that are, but he had some kind of a pectoral tear, and he was refusing to get surgery. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not drafting a guy like that, that's, already we're, having issues from him on keeping his body healthy. And while I agree with that, you can't spend a first-round pick on a guy who won't just go, fix his body if he's going to play a contact sport like football. But you know what you can do? You can take a first-round guy who's injury-prone in the third round. You can definitely do that. That's okay. And Nakobe Dean is going to be huge for this defense. He is another guy who can come off the edge. You can put him in coverage. He can cover running backs. He can cover tight ends. He can, like I say, he can blitz off the edge. He can be a run stopper. I mean, he can pass rush. Nakobe Dean, like I said, is a first-round guy. I mean, he is a first. He could be. We could look back in 5 or so years and say Nakobe Dean is the best linebacker in this draft. That is a real chance possibility. Nakobe Dean has the skill set for that, and they got him in the third round, and that is huge. And then the 6th round picks of Kyron Johnson and Grant. I cannot say his last name. Calcaterra. They got a linebacker, once again, just adding to that defensive depth, and then a tight end in Grant Calcaterra to add to the tight end room because they lost Zach Ertz last year, so they needed to add something there, even though they've already got Dallas Goedert. So with that being said, Philly had one of the most impressive draft. I don't want to say drafts because then I can't really throw A.J. Brown into it. They had one of the most impressive draft processes. We'll just say that. From Thursday until Saturday, they had impressed me every single day. Every single day I thought, oh, how can they improve this? And they did. Every single day they did something better than maybe not something better, but they did something as incredible as they did the day before. So with that being said, I can't give the Philadelphia Eagles anything less than an A, and I think that they possibly deserve an A+, but I wasn't huge to jump on the 2 6th round picks. So for that reason, I won't give them the A+, but I will for certain give them the closest thing to an A+ and an A. Let's say if an A+ is a 9.7 draft grade, they got a 9.6. Like it was right there on that, riding that line. So yeah, I was really impressed by this draft, and I'll say my best pick for them. God, that's tough because all three, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, and Nakobe Dean, all have real potential to be the best pick in this draft. But with that being said, I have been taking too many first-round guys, so I'm immediately going to eliminate Jordan Davis, even though I think he could be a staple of Philadelphia sports for years to come. Cam Jurgens was a great addition, a first-round guy in my opinion. But Nakobe Dean being a surefire first-round linebacker that fell to the third round and they still were able to snag him, I'll take third-rounder Nakobe Dean as the best pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I will give them an A on their draft grading. And like I said, if a 9.7 is an A+, I give them a 9.6. I mean, they are as close as they can get to an A+ without being on that line.
Yeah,
and they acquired the wide receiver help they needed to.
Right. So the title segment of today's show is the NFC East is back to the least with a question mark there, and we've seen this division make the playoffs with a losing record, right? We've seen these teams just not be very good, and you basically had 3 teams that pretty much did a pretty damn good job in this draft. But with that being said, who do you think wins the NFC East this season?
Before draft night, I would have told you the Dallas Cowboys. But after draft night, seeing everything that Philadelphia did, it would be blasphemy. It would be blasphemous, football blasphemous, for me to sit here and tell you that the Philadelphia Eagles aren't the favorite right now in the NFC East. I just think that's a wrong. If you say the Philadelphia Eagles are not the favorite in the NFC East right now, that is a wrong statement. So I'm going to jump on the Philadelphia Eagles bandwagon here and say that this was a great draft. They've had a pretty decent offseason already. They added the wide receiver help they needed in A.J. Brown. He's already got the team chemistry going. They did really good with their draft. They got, like I said, they took 3 first-rounders between the first, second, and third round. So they hit it out of the ballpark with their draft. Their free agency was pretty good. We'll see how they put the pieces together. It is now at this point, it is the Philadelphia Eagles division to lose.
Yeah, and just to add to your point there, they also acquired another first-round pick in A.J. Brown. So, I mean, it's definitely a win-win-win for them. But I have to give you a wrong statement, I said, because I think the New York Giants are right now the favorite in the NFC East, not because of their draft, just because of the players having chips on their shoulder going into the season. This is a prove-it year for Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes has to have a great season for him to be a quarterback in New York again, and he wants to be a quarterback in New York. Saquon Barkley, people are starting to putting that overrated, not so good, can never stay healthy label on him, and he has something to prove. You know, he is going to be hungry. He is going to be running like the thigh man that he is. His thighs are the size of my chest, and it's absolutely ridiculous, like how thick of individual this kid is. And just the whole Giants organization is screaming to be good again. You know what? The last time they were really a dominant force in the NFL was when not Bill Parcells, but who was the coach of the New York Giants when they went to the Super Bowl? Who?
Tom Coughlin.
No, I'm talking before that. I'm talking like the 90s when they had LT and those boys, right? They were a dominant team. The guy slipping my name right now. Didn't he coach for the Cowboys too? Was it Bill Parcells? It was Bill. I'm pretty sure it was Bill.
Bill Parcells.
It was Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells is here. Bill Parcells coached from 83 to 90.
Yeah, so like they were a dominant team through those years. Yes, they won a couple Super Bowls with like Eli, but they stuck into the playoffs.
They were a dominant team more recent than that.
Yeah, Tom Coughlin was he a coach when Eli was there?
Yeah, Tom Coughlin was the head coach whenever Eli was there. You got to think they had Strahan too. Justin Tuck was different. Jason Pierre-Paul on that defense.
I'm not saying they weren't good, but like they weren't that dominant team, right? And am I saying they're going to be a dominant team this year? No, but I could see 11, 12 wins from this team because of the type of schedule that they play. It's a little bit easier on paper, but yeah, I like the Giants, as that pays me to say coming out of my mouth. It just makes me sick because as a Cowboys fan, you got to do what you got to do. But taking the hominess out of it and bada bing, bada boom, we get what we got. So Wyatt, that's going to be it for tonight's or for today's show, guys. I will be off tomorrow, but Wyatt is taking the reins tomorrow. Wyatt, you want to give the people a little bit of preview of what's going to happen tomorrow when you saddle up the horses and ride into town?
All I'm going to say is it's going to be incredible. You're going to want to watch. That's all. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm going to have some very awesome guests on the show. I'm going to try and get a D1 athlete on the show.
There you go.
No guarantees yet because I only have till tomorrow to do it. But I'm going to shoot my shot, and we're going to try. But with that being said, tomorrow's going to be an incredible episode. You are going to want to tune in.
Yeah, go. So guys, tune in tomorrow, youtube.com/manhour, 7 a.m. East Coast time. The man, the Wyatt Williams himself, taking the reins, leading the show. I will have to work, and then I'm going to French Lick for the day. We're going to indoor water park there. Me and the boys are going to saddle up and do some water slides.
That's so great. Big Splash is awesome.
Yeah, so guys, if you guys missed any part of the show whatsoever, check us out on Belly Up TV at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. East Coast time on bellyup.tv, or simply head over to Roku or Apple TV, search for Belly Up Sports. We're right there, or just subscribe to the YouTube channel. The clips are there. The podcasts are there. Everything's good there. Wyatt, any last thoughts before we head out?
Man Hour Nation, rise up.
There you go. Have a great day, guys.